Cadillac Escalade V.
Oh my God. Listen to that shift, mate.
This is insane.
Oh
okay.
my God. That was honestly like EV acceleration.
Yeah.
You build some boost and then, oh my God.
So we're doing the behind the wheel portion first,
Oh my
obviously,
God.
because that's probably why you clicked on this video. And that is the greatest thing about this car is that noise that it's making and the V8 that's underneath the hood.
Yes, and you can still hear it going off. All right, let it run. I mean, my God. Honestly, it's still going.
You can honestly get
It's
like
still going.
10 to 15 second burbles, and it literally just like brings out the kid in you. It's just like so fun. Just doing this all day long.
Oh my God.
Okay, so oh, it's just so good.
There's just so much experience about this car. I honestly don't even care about the numbers. I don't care. It's
No, but
just
we should
so
tell
much
them.
sound. No, we should obviously, but yeah, it's just so much fun. So what you've got under the hood, right, is the same 6.2 litre supercharged with a 2.7 litre blower,
Yes.
V8 from the CT5 Blackwing. Well, the blower's actually bigger. Oh, God. Christ. The blower's bigger. Makes what, 682 horsepower, 653 pounds-foot, right?
Yes.
0 to 60
In about 4.3, 4.4 seconds.
4.4.
You have a 10-speed in this thing that is
sharp.
snappy. It is
That
very
is
good.
I
Yes.
love the gearbox when you have it in like full send mode in V mode. It's just so crisp. That 2 to 3 shift. That's the best one, mate. To me.
Yeah.
That 2 to 3 shift. You're already at like felony speeds, and then it just goes back. It honestly kind of reminds me, because I love a good gearbox, as you know. It honestly kind of reminds me of like the bat that you get from the LC500.
Yeah, no, I agree.
It's the sharpness, it's just the crispness, it's so rewarding. LC500, this, Ferrari 458, excellent gearboxes.
Yeah, especially
Excellent.
on the upshifts and the burbles. I mean, this thing is honestly insane, and I really encourage you to go try and drive one or hear one in
Oh my
person,
God.
because I think, honestly, watching this video doesn't do it enough justice, just for how crazy it feels behind the wheel, how ridiculous it is, and how good that actually sounds in person. But hopefully we're doing it justice by kind of sharing what our thoughts and experiences are with it. But so we were just in V mode, which the V mode is kind of interestingly located, like kind of hidden behind your drive selector. But you also like can select different drive modes on the left-hand side, so they're kind of in two different
the mode
spots.
selection is over there.
Yeah, so you have Tour, which is basically like comfort, snow, ice, tow, and then like
7,000 pounds towing, by the way.
your custom mode.
7,000 pounds.
Oh, it's just 1,000 pounds more than this thing weighs.
It's just insane. You could tow another one of these plus a trailer. God, I mean, that's insane. So you think about things like, oh, what's this thing compete against? And then you start listing things like Alpina XB7s, Mercedes 63 GLS, what's Audi got, the Q8 or the Q7, SQ7, Porsche, Cayenne. I mean, all of these things are like the closest thing. Nothing really competes against this thing. And then, of course, you've got the Durango SRT Hellcat, but that's unibody. All of those are unibody, right? So this is the T1XX ladder frame truck frame chassis, right?
Yeah, body
It's got
out of frame.
independent suspension up front, independent suspension in the back, but it is a ladder frame chassis, which is why you get 7,000 pounds towing. It's just insane. So yeah, there's so much character, there's so much drama, and I think that's the point of this car. Talking about numbers, who cares? The thing that you, like, we talked about this on the way over here, right? When you got in this car, what did you do?
Giggled.
You just giggled.
Yeah.
I couldn't tell you. The last time, I've been in an M8 competition recently, Audi RS6 recently, X5M competition. I don't giggle when I get behind the wheel of those cars. I'm like, okay, yes, I want to be serious. I want to push it. Where's the limit of the car? I get into this thing. I go anywhere near the throttle. First of all, everyone in your zip code knows it.
Yep.
And second of all, it's just like, you're just a school child again.
Yeah.
It's just so much fun.
It is so ridiculous, and I love that Cadillac really finally brought this to the market, because I think people have been wanting it for so long now.
It's so outrageous.
It is so outrageous, and it's honestly such an experience. But I did want to quickly touch on handling, suspension.
Yes.
So we have Air Ride and the Magna Ride, right? So
yes, correct. Air spring, mag shock, right?
Yep. And it's really good, especially under acceleration and braking. They did some tuning to the software to kind of help it not pitch as much when you're under heavy load, either direction in terms of braking or acceleration. And I think that they nailed it. It really doesn't feel like you're driving a 6,000-pound vehicle when you're going in a straight line. I think the weak link of the chain.
Do this sometimes.
Yes, when you turn is when that weight starts to become a little bit more apparent. You kind of realize, okay, this is body on frame. I mean, I think for what they're dealing with, they did a really good job at making it ride really well.
Yes.
But I do still think you can kind of feel some of the characteristics that are accustomed with a body on frame.
Yeah, no, I'm honestly impressed with the chassis and the ride refinement and everything. Now, you're not going to dial out all of the squat, right? But to me, that's kind of okay. But you know how you see like the slow-mo versions of like the G-Wagon accelerating the 63 and it just goes, vroom, it just throws the nose up? This does that a little bit, but it's a lot more controlled, and that's the mag ride working at it. It's making micro adjustments hundreds of times a second, you know. And then you've got the air ride, and then the nice thing is it's controlling the body and the chassis that way, but also when you want it to not be outrageous and you just want it to be a Cadillac and you just want it to be an Escalade, it does that really, really well in kind of the same way that I was impressed by. Jesus Christ! Oh my God! But.
Okay,
are you done?
I'm gonna
Mate,
are
you having a go?
Sorry.
The last thing I was going to say,
so hard.
just in terms of like the ride refinement and the duality of the personality between sports and then like luxury, the only other car that I've been in that does it as well as this, you know, without making compromises to luxury, is the Audi S8. And it's the fact that when you want it to just be in tour mode, it is soft and the steering is light. And you're not making like huge compromises like you would get in an M car. You know, we talk about the X5M. That car is overdamped because it's trying so hard to be sport that it's not really a great X5 anymore. This is still a brilliant Escalade, despite the fact that it now has a nuclear reactor under the hood.
Right, almost 700 horsepower.
So I think still good.
What they did was they didn't try and be a sports big SUV, which is awesome. They just try to be ridiculous, and I think that they nailed it. I mean, it looks ridiculous, it's massive, it sounds ridiculous.
And this is not even the biggest one either.
No, exactly.
It gets bigger.
And they put a ridiculous engine in it. I do just want to mention, though, we are getting about 8.9 mpg.
Oh, that's better than we started the day.
Yeah, we started the day like 8.6, so we've been pretty calm behind the wheel.
Thank you, Greenpeace. You're welcome.
You have a heads-up display, obviously. You can do some customizing right here on your digital dash. I think in this mode, though, like there's kind of some wasted space. Sometimes things will pop up in these two left and right corners, like if you're on the phone, or I think if you were equipped with Super Cruise, which unfortunately we're not due to the chip shortage, but we were actually mentioning that the Super Cruise is probably one of our favorite autonomous, or near autonomous softwares out there currently. It's really, really good.
Even in a body on frame like the Sierra Denali Ultimate that we had recently, that had the Super Cruise, and even in that it's so good. And you make that distinction because it's important, because you get in things like the Fords, right, or the Toyotas specifically. The Toyota body on frames, they're like, all of a sudden their autonomous stuff, their lane keep goes to shit pretty quickly. It's all right in like a Lexus NX, but if you get into like a Tundra, it has a harder time.
Yeah.
I think the last thing that I would say is just in terms of like the concept of this. We talked about this a little bit, and it's like, you remember back in the day when you used to have like the muscle car thing, right? So it was a big powerful engine in a big tub that wouldn't turn. Now you don't have that anymore. You know, everything can turn. A wide body Hellcat can turn. It's got enough rubber on it. It's a sports car now. So we don't really have like muscle cars anymore. But what we do have is muscle 3-row buildings. Because it won't turn, huge engine, fast as hell, super loud. This is the new generation muscle car.
Yeah, I agree, and they did a really good job with this one.
I'm blown away with this thing. Is it worth 150? Oh, we'll save that to the end.
Yeah. Okay, we'll do the exterior interior, and then we'll wrap up with final thoughts.
Let's step outside. Welcome everyone to Downshift JR. We've spent the week here with this absolute honey of a vehicle, the massive Cadillac Escalade V 2023. You've obviously just seen our review and reactions to being behind the wheel, but this is what it looks like on the outside. And it looks, like a Cadillac, but like a very nice Cadillac. Love this paint. What do you think?
Yeah, I really like it too, especially this paint color. I think that it's very subtle, you know, the V.
Yes.
I think to the average individual out on the streets, they're really not going to be able to tell. It's kind of a sleeper spec, but I really do like it, especially how they kind of, You know, they blacked out the front fascia here a little bit.
Yeah, no, I think this is the spec if I were to get it. This red is spectacular. The black accenting is fantastic. You've got the floating Cadillac grille. You've got lower diffuser, front splitter area kind of sandwiched between the red. You've got the black, and then you've got your radar cruise sensor up here. But yeah, the paint is just exceptional. And then of course in typical Cadillac fashion, you've got full vertical running light, which just looks fantastic. I'm realizing that I'm saying the word fantastic a lot, but it really is.
It is, yeah.
But yeah, it's just huge and it's tall. So again, it's me versus the car. You used to be able to survive getting hit by a car. No more.
Yeah,
not when it's 6,000 pounds of supercharged V8.
I pulled up right behind a Corvette, and if I was close enough, I could hardly even see.
Just disappear in front of you.
Yes, it was crazy.
And then you just roll over it. It's muscle truck.
This is when you get a sense of how absolutely long this thing is, and it's not even the longest one you can get.
Yeah, and then it goes bigger. Like, welcome to America. It's excellent. I think it looks great. It's nice, typical GM kind of boxy profile. But then you've got these 22-inch wheels, gunmetal, fantastic, subtle little V here, right? Big 6-piston Brembo brakes up here. Big improvement up there. But then they're wrapped in this Bridgestone Alenza tyre, just a normal kind of all-season tyre, not really a sporty tyre. But again, it's not really trying to be a sports SUV. It's kind of like a muscle SUV in that way. But then yeah, so you've got some additional kind of V stuff there. You've got this V badge here, but that's kind of it on the side of the car.
Yeah, I do want to mention when we're on the side, I think one of my favorite features is just the lighting aspect. So you have a auto-deployable running board, but at night when you unlock this thing, there's an LED bar underneath the deployable running boards. There's LED bars on each door handle. You have a massive puddle logo, and then you'll also get one logo back here, I believe, to where you can kick to open the trunk.
Yes.
But it just looks fantastic when you're walking up to it in the parking lot.
Yes. And one more thing. We've talked about the brakes up there. And we've got a little baby brake back here.
Matt said he can't leave the nest yet.
Yeah, he's just a little chick, hey? Little chickie.
Yeah, that's
huge,
good.
massive 6-piston, 144mm Brembo up there. We'll just leave the rears. Why not? Why not? And then around the back, again, it's an Escalade with a V badge, with quad tips, and a diffuser.
Yeah, really the only distinction here is the quad tips and the diffuser.
Yeah, that's it. I will say, it is nice. You have the split tailgate, so you've got the glass that comes up. The problem here is that I don't see any button on the exterior, and I know that I'll be proved wrong in the comments, but there's no button here to release the actual tailgate. So you have to use the kick to open, or you have to use the key. Then when you do open it, you have a reason to do a big boot. It's big enough. You know, this is kind of standard to what you get from the body-on-frame 3-row SUVs from America. This is why you get the ESV though. This is why you get the longer wheelbase. So you have a little bit, but you have double the trunk space, honestly. Then you can drop all the seats from back here. You want to show the people what you're doing. Yeah. And then this goes up as well. So with all of it down, it's pretty big. It's pretty big. Shall we go inside?
So we are on the interior now. And I do think my overall comment and feel about the interior is that it's American luxury. I wouldn't say it's necessarily competing with like the German luxuries. I think when you initially look at it, it was a little underwhelming for me, honestly. But the materials look good, everything feels good. But I think there's a few things, and I'll mention it when we get to them, about where I think it just kind of falls a little bit short to the European competitors. I think the one thing that comes to my mind right now is this Alcantara headline. It's good, but it doesn't feel as good as the Europeans, honestly.
It feels like the inside of a 3-year-old hoodie.
Yes, as Matt would say. I do want to talk about the room back here because it's actually very spacious. 6'2", and like, if I'm sitting properly, my knees aren't even touching there, and my head is good. I just wish that there was a sunroof here, but there's really, really good room back here. I wouldn't say that these seats are particularly comfortable, but they definitely get the job done. Like they feel good enough, I think. The leather feels good.
Okay. I like the stitching.
Yeah, the stitching's cool.
Blocky.
And then I'll sit here. So
young and spry.
The captain seats
are a young man's game.
The captain seats, obviously, you have heated seats here, cup holder here. You got your charging ports down here for all your needs. But a massive pano. This is awesome. Great to have. The two things I want to mention here: 36 speakers in this thing. It
Right.
literally sounds like you are at the concert venue.
AKG speakers.
It is one of the best sound systems I've ever heard in a car, and I'm a pretty big sound knob, so I think that's high.
You're a
high,
knob. Hey,
high
he's a knob. Hey, and a bell end. Audiophile is what you're looking for.
Yes.
I think. Yes,
yes.
you're good. No, you're good.
The other thing I wanted to mention back here was this thing obviously has like Wi-Fi enabled, so you can stream Spotify, Netflix, Hulu back here, and then Spotify to the front, obviously, which is super cool.
I think it's HDMI enabled as well, so you can plug in an Xbox or a PlayStation if you really want to.
Yep, and the colors on these screens, like the resolution and stuff, is actually pretty good as well.
Yeah,
So
it's pretty impressive. I like it quite a bit.
let's jump to the front. So in the front, I think before I forget, we have an optional freezer up here, so that's pretty cool. You can decide how cool you want it in here, but for your drinks and whatnot, your Yahoo, whatever you drink.
Yoo-hoo.
Yeah, is it Yahoo?
Yes, mate.
I thought it's Yahoo.
No, that's the browser.
I know. No, that's like the email provider.
I think it's Yoo-hoo.
Yes.
Yes. No, this kind of reminds me. So you've got the screens in the back. You don't have a screen here, but you've got the freezer there. This kind of reminds me of the Jeep Grand Wagoneer.
I was gonna say
a little
that.
bit.
A little bit. I think that the quality in here is honestly not as good as that. And one thing is, like, this is supposed to be a wireless charger. I put my phone in here and I pulled it out, and this just like came out. So I mean, it's a press vehicle, so like I'm sure that these things just happen, but
I've never experienced a wireless charger that is removable from the car.
right, exactly.
There's something about me strikes that as off.
Lady on a bike threw me off.
Hey, get out of here.
I
Karen.
will turn it on to show you the massive screens here that you have.
Big
So you have, you obviously have your basic amenities that you would expect to have in this vehicle. So you have heated seats, cooled seats, heated steering wheel. You also have a massaging functionality in the front two seats. So it's a button on the side. I don't love where the button is located.
Yeah, you mess with this here.
The other thing I was going to mention was the camera quality. So it's actually pretty good resolution. You have some cool functionality to go like over the head, which is cool to see the sides. This is
pretty rubbish.
This is still pretty comical. Not even like the same color or anything.
So you get this in like Mercedes, BMW, Audi. It's better there. We'll just say
But
that.
yeah, usually you can actually like spin it yourself versus these like.
Feels more gimmick than practical.
These are also like predetermined camera angles. The other thing which is pretty cool, speaking of cameras, is you have your heads-up display is pretty good here, but you can kind of control what your digital dash does over here on the corner, which is kind of cool. But you can turn this into a full screen map, which is nice. AR camera. I'm really not sure when exactly you would actually utilize this. To me, it's.
I know when you'd use it. When you've pulled up too close on a Corvette.
Yeah, it's true. Actually, you're right.
You can't
I guess
see it anymore.
you know what? When you're parking, this would actually be very beneficial. But while you're driving, it's a little bit distracting, and maybe it's because I'm just not used to it yet. Because I feel like I kind of had a similar impression when I first did this, but now I can't drive without it. I kind of like it on.
Yeah. I think what I noticed is this is a little bit laggy. So like somebody will be in the middle of the screen here, and in reality they'll be like a little bit further past.
Yeah.
If they've been driving.
It's not like real time.
No, there's a bit of lag.
Night vision
latency.
system, obviously can only use that when it's dark.
Though.
I really like how this is kind of curved, and you can kind of see when I go to like just regular maps, how the map kind of is integrated, like the screen is integrated into the curve of it. It's kind of cool.
Yeah, it's
and everything's
well
like slanted.
It's well done. I like it. It looks good. It looks expensive. It's pretty nice. It just kind of falls apart for me a little bit when you start to like really play with some of the plastics, and like this is shiny and gloss, and you know it's just not got the same kind of build quality and sturdiness of like a BMW or a Mercedes, Audi, Porsche. But it is American luxury, or American premium.
Yes.
Or professional grade, rather, if we're a GMC.
You get pretty nice ambient lighting in here. There's a bunch of different options that you can pick from as well. But yeah, I think my biggest takeaway inside is the sound system is phenomenal. And then I think we could probably get into final thoughts. You have 36 speakers, 2 of them right here in the headrest.
Yeah, 36. That's a lot of speakers.
It is a lot of speakers. So final thoughts. This thing is one of the most ridiculous things I think we've ever tested. And
yes.
We kept using the word stupid when we were off camera, but like stupid in a good way. Like it's so ridiculous that this thing is so big, makes this much power, and sounds like this.
Yes.
It's definitely a treat.
It's fantastic. It's so stupid and it's the best thing and I love it.
I love it too.
All right. Thanks for watching.
Later, guys.